Hey, glad you could make it. Listen, I know I'm pumping out video, but I am very, very busy with my day job right now. And it may come as a complete shock to some of you guys, but I don't make any money off of YouTube. And you can look at and see how many subscribers I have. Speaking of that, go on ahead and hit the subscribe if you haven't already done so. And if you do like this content, please share me out. Tell your friends, okay? I can't get rid of my day job, but right now I'm trying to put out a few videos here over the weekend while I have time, because I don't know when I'm going to have time during the week. And sometimes I'm knocking off work at 7 or 8 o'clock at night. I can't sit up till 1 in the morning trying to post videos. So anyway, I was looking through my shelf and I found a bourbon I haven't reviewed yet. So we're going to do it right after this. All right, we have the burning chair. Okay, now I know I've talked about finished bourbons in the past and how I don't tend to really gravitate towards the finished bourbons because I'm a purist, but I do enjoy a little Angel's Envy here and there. Port wine barrels is what they finish theirs in on the regular. And then the rye, they do it in rum barrels, I think. But this is procured bourbon, and it's actually a blend. Now, reading on the bottle, it says distilled in Indiana. But this is produced and bottled, which is very important. I know we've talked about that before. If you see produced and bottled, but it doesn't say distilled, that means they didn't make the bourbon. They call producing it, blending it, and barreling it, and all of that, and then they bottle it. So it is, though, coming in regardless. And online, it says that it's procured from 3 different places, Indiana, Kentucky, and I forget the other one. But on here on the bottle, it just says distilled in Indiana. Okay. But Savage & Cook, Vallejo, California, is a winery. And there is a guy, and I can't remember his name, Philip, or something like that. Anyway, he works for Savage & Cook, and he procures bourbons, blends them, and then ages them in Cabernet barrels from their stock, their barrel stock. So they say that the bourbons that they procure, they don't say this on the bottle. I did have to read about this. I didn't read a review of it for notes or anything, but I did read about, the wiki version of what they are. But they say those bourbons are at least 4 years aged before they get them. And it doesn't say how many bourbons are blended. It doesn't say anything about that. It just says produced and bottled by Savage & Cook, Vallejo, California, distilled in Indiana, the Burning Chair Bourbon Whiskey. And on the front, it says, it doesn't say it there either. But we know from online that it is Cabernet barrels that they finish the bourbon in. And I don't know how long they keep it in the cab barrel. So let's go ahead and pop this cork. I do, and this is a little rubber stopper. From that, I am getting that little grapey, the wine piece, but I'll go ahead and pour you a little here. And it is amber. I can tell you that. Very amber color. Let me get this drop. And it does have a distinct flavor because of its finishing. Now, finished bourbons, some people love them, some people hate them. I'm a bourbon head, so I like it all, so I'm going to try it. So, I've had this before. There's some I probably enjoy better than finished bourbons, but every once in a while you get in the mood for something like this. So, let's look at the color on this thing. It's just a nice darker amber. Nothing off-putting about that. Let's go ahead and get some air in it so it gives up its notes. Check the legs on it. Now, on the nose, I can tell you I am getting that cab. And I have nosed cabs before. I'm not a wine person by any means, but my wife likes wine, and I like Pinot Noir. I like Merlot and a little Shiraz here and there. Merlot if I'm eating like lamb around Christmas time or something like that. But it does have pretty decent legs on it. I mean, I'm getting some good thick trails coming down. Not the thickest I've ever seen, but for something like this, I mean, and this is not a cheap bottle. Now, it's not, I don't know how much it is. I think it's around $50. There are some oaky notes coming out in there, and there are some of the typical bourbon notes, but man, that wash of that grape wine. But what I was going to say is when I drink wine around Christmas or Thanksgiving or other occasions, I will nose it before I drink it. I like experiencing the full effect. There is the vanilla though. It's almost reminding me kind of in my head of like a cream soda red wine or something, with that vanilla coming through. But there are the oaky notes. It's not a punchy nose. It's not a very sharp nose. It's pretty soft. Now, talking about that, it's important to note that it's 44% 88 proof. So it's above your base bourbon of 40-80, but it's not at my mark of the 90. So I would call this a slightly tamer alcohol content in this bourbon than some that I enjoy more, but not by much, just barely. So let's go ahead and get that first sip out of the way. Okay, it does coat pretty well, but it is a little bitey, a little warm, even though it's under 90 proof, certainly nowhere near 110 proof and above, but it is giving me a little bit of a bite on the tongue, but it was a pretty warm finish on it. Now, again, I have to be in the mood for it. For these finished bourbons, but, because it is hiding, I think, a lot of the notes you would get out of even just a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys. Okay. I am getting the wine for sure, but I'm also getting some really good bourbon notes, and it's coating really well, and I'm getting the oak. I'm getting the vanilla, but the fruits are gone almost. Like we usually get apple, pear, maybe even on your better, more aged, darker bourbons, you'll get like fig and things like that. That all is kind of being washed away by the red wine. And that's just, what I'm picking up off of it. But there are a couple of bready notes coming through in there. Hard to tell, but I wouldn't say they use a high rye bourbon in any of their blending. I think it's more of like a wheater bourbons or something. I'm not picking up any of the deeper roasty notes. I think this is a blend of high corn and wheat mash bill bourbons being blended and then being placed into Cabernet barrels for however long they leave them. But no, I mean, this is now when we talk about, is it drinkable? The smoothness scale is absolutely there. This stuff is silky smooth on the tongue. It is quite tasty. Now, when I talk about I can't find all the notes I'm used to, it doesn't mean it's not good. It means it's stepping outside of the wheelhouse that I usually live in. But this stuff is extremely drinkable, extremely enjoyable from a snifter. It's just, it reminds me more of a whiskey, not a bourbon, which I do have many whiskeys on my shelf over there and I enjoy them. But I almost want to put this as a bonus video and not a bourbon review, but they do say this is bourbon whiskey. So I'm going to put it, and I may even kind of teeter it. But wow, sweet, gives you that. It's just a very subdued, very easy to drink bourbon. It really is. And it has, you know, it's kind of subduing some of those bourbon notes. It gets a lot more mellow as you continue to drink it. The first sip was a little hot. After that, it's gone. You know, you don't even get the heat anymore. A little bit of a hug. The finish on it. Now that I will tell you about. The finish on it is long, but it's not a bourbon finish. It's a wine. It's like a warm wine finish at the back. Really is, but it is long and present. I think this is a good novelty. I think it's good to have around every once in a while. Very easy to drink. Very easy to drink. But no, it's something to experiment with. This was a gift. I did not purchase this on my own. A guy that works with me, this is one of his favorites. More power to him. And like I said, there's people that like, you know, that are into drinking scotch and drinking different whiskeys, Tennessee whiskeys. Finished bourbons are fine. They are. It's just not my forte to bring to you. But it's this one I haven't reviewed before. I'm trying to put out some content here. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. If you can find it, it's not a bad purchase. It's a really, really good drink. It's just a finished bourbon. So as always, please like and subscribe. Hit the bell down there for notifications. Share me out, and I promise I'll keep bringing you these videos.